Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Effective next Wednesday, all businesses of any type are allowed to open 100%. That includes any type of entity in Texas. Also, I am ending the statewide mask mandate.
Oh, no. That sounds like you're going to live life. Governor Abbott, what are you doing? You're going to live life. Yeah, it's kind of what's going to happen. Of course. Now, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Could some of this backfire? Absolutely. No doubt whatsoever. No doubt whatsoever. Some of this could backfire. But we talked about it yesterday. It's pretty simple. At some point, somebody's going to have to do something. Somebody's going to have to make a move. Somebody is going to have to say, I'll go first. Now, Florida, they never went, so there's no going first. I think we can all just kind of agree. Florida's like, well, we're just going to live our lives and see what happens. Not everybody died. So we're there. All right. Texas has kind of been one of those states that hasn't been fully shut down, but they've sure in the hell not been fully open. And now they're moving forward. Governor Abbott and them have said, we're doing this. And there's a lot of debate here. Should you? Shouldn't you? We've got the vaccine. I go back to this. We were talking about this yesterday. So I'm in Arizona, and we were doing the numbers. We have 1.8 million people vaccinated. We've had almost 1 million people infected. You put those two together, you're looking about, let's say 2.75 million. Because I'm going to take some off because some of those have already had it, got vaccinated again. But there you go. Then you throw in the fact that you've probably got anywhere between 2 to 3 times as many people that were asymptomatic. This is what that Dr. Makari talked about from Johns Hopkins. Most epidemiologists, doctors, everybody else said, look, the asymptomatic spread was probably massive, and we're probably way undercounting. It's not even close. Some people have it as high as, 4 or 5 times as many. I'm going low and saying, let's just say it's double that. Okay, if it's double that, we're looking at a situation where here we have 3.5 million out of the 7 million people have either had it or been vaccinated, and a good portion, say 30 to 40% of people are here. We've a very young state. They're kids. They're not getting this yet. They're just now doing trials. So we're going to take them out of the equation. We would be closing in on that number of, say, 70+% of people that either have had it or been vaccinated for it. Could we be getting close to that herd immunity in some places? We are never, ever going to get to a place where we have full vaccination, right? So full vaccination that spurs the herd immunity. It was always going to be a combination of the two. And you can't talk about opening up. People freak out. We touched yesterday, Boris Johnson, Prime Minister of the UK. It's like, we're doing this. We got a plan. This is the plan. And when we go forward, we're doing it. And he laid out the plan of what's going to happen. Texas just did what Texas does.
Too many Texans have been sidelined from employment opportunities. Too many small business owners have struggled to pay their bills. This must end.
There you go. Texas is doing it. Of course, people are freaking out. You've got a lot of people out there saying, you can't do this. This is the mayor of Houston, Sylvester Turner. And let's not forget, guys, just because he says you guys are open for business, in most states, the cities and municipalities and the communities and the counties may control things in a much different way. You could go out today here, Governor Doug Ducey, Gavin Newsom, even Andrew Cuomo when he's not, fiddling around with the ladies. He could go out there, right, and say, we're going to get rid of the mask mandate. We're going to do this. We're going to open it up. Your store may still say, you know what, we're going to be cautious. Everybody's responsible for themselves. It's what I always wanted this to be. Learn to live with this thing, through this thing, and around this thing. But you're responsible for yourself. If you think it's too soon and you don't want to put yourself in a position of going to the store, going to a that you would normally go to in regular times because you feel uncomfortable with it, but you like the fact, grocery store you're going to go to, you pretty much have no choice. But, I would normally go there, but I just don't feel like that's something I want to do right now. Or I love to eat here, but they only have dining indoors and takeout. I don't feel like dining indoors yet. I'll just do takeout. You can do that. He's not holding the gun to your head saying, now you have to go back to the way you were before this. You have to go to every place. You have to go to clubs. You have to go everywhere. You have to do it without a mask. He's not saying that. Some people take it as so.
I'm very disappointed by the decision of the governor. Quite frankly, to put it in very stark terms, it makes no sense. Are we making progress in getting our arms around this virus? Absolutely. Have the number of hospital admissions come down dramatically? Yes. But the positivity rate that we announced yesterday was 11.8%. The goal is to get it down to 5% or below and keep it down to crush the virus. We are not there yet.
We're not going to crush this virus. I think everybody realized that. The crushing of the virus, the way that I think some people think that this thing's going to happen, that magically it's going to disappear, isn't going to happen. So here we are. It's pretty simplistic. They've decided to step forward and do it. Mississippi, some other states are doing something as well. But just because the governor, whoever your governor is, says you have to do this, or this is what you're going to be allowed to do, doesn't mean that you have to. The beauty of the country we live in is we're supposed to have choices, liberty, freedom. If I want to wear a mask into a place and I feel uncomfortable, I have the freedom and choice to turn around and walk away. What about businesses? Businesses have been clamoring to get open. Have they not? I don't think we should have shut down our businesses. I don't think we should have hampered our businesses. We could have been cautious and respectful. It's so funny that we can't have a conversation about anything because any conversation nowadays is you want grandma dead. You're a racist. You're a homophobe. It's calling names. You're terrified. You're weak. No, have a conversation. Allow people to make choices. I'm totally fine with that. And let's not forget, I had this. I don't go anywhere. I don't do anything. I've been to a movie or a restaurant in 13 months. Outside of playing golf, which is a solitary sport. I go, I walk in, I have a mask on, I get the bucket of balls, I go out, I hit, maybe once in a while, I'll get out and play 18 by myself. Still got it. So think about that.
The governor's pronouncement, we end the statewide mask order next Wednesday to go to 100% in terms of our businesses. It really undermines all of the sacrifices that have been made by people in the community, a lot of sacrifices that have been made at every single level.
So you want to continue on the way that you are, not give people to have the opportunity to choose whether or not they want to wear a mask or don't want. Well, they could spread it. They could. Again, you also have choices not to do certain things. Yes, some people are going to be put in some awkward choices. I got to go back to work. They're telling me we got to go back to work. But then you're like, I'm also struggling, and then I don't have any money, and it's choices. You can't have your cake and eat it too. I know the government would love to pay you to stay home forever. I don't think that's the thing. T-Rex wants to hunt. People want to work. You can be respectful. You can put all kinds of things in place to help you with this. I have no problem with it. People freaked out. Well, we're taking one step forward and 10 steps back. How? Because those people, right, just like the people who think this thing was nothing, those people are living in the extremes. At some point, we're going to have to take a step forward. He chose to do it earlier than some others. That's his state. That's Texas. We don't expect much from, I don't expect anything else from Texas or Florida. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. So much stuff to get to. Again, we've got some big things happening with the virus. I think that's big. We've got two. Here's a perfect example of what's going on in a situation where two companies decide, you know what, we're bitter rivals. At the same time, this is what's best.
This is a wartime effort. and every action has been on the table, including putting together breakthrough approaches. And today, we're announcing a major step forward. Two of the largest healthcare and pharmaceutical companies in the world that are usually competitors are working together on the vaccine. Johnson & Johnson and Merck will work together to expand the production of Johnson & Johnson's vaccine. This is the type of collaboration between companies we saw in World War II.
Yeah. They've decided, look, we're going to come back. One of the and work together. One of the reasons is Merrick had some setbacks, and it doesn't look like they were going to actually have anything and step away from it completely. They abandoned most of the stuff when it came to coronavirus, but we need to ramp it up. How do we do it? You two, right now, put aside your differences. Merrick's got the opportunity to produce a ton of stuff. You've got the vaccine. Let's let them get in the game and produce it so we hit him double hard. Hit him with the body, right? Great. That's a win. That, to me, is a fantastic win. Great work right there. More options. Move forward. Stop living in fear. Give people options and treat them like adults. Shouldn't be hard. It is. And human nature. Point it out to you all the time. When you give people power, when you give it to them, for a lot of people, that power they want to use. And unwinding the power will still be the hardest thing from top to bottom. From the top of the tree all the way down to all the little municipalities and we've got over here we've got this community, we've got these people and you're seeing it. You're seeing it with school districts. You're seeing it with board members. You're seeing it with city councils and small town mayors and big town mayors. You're seeing it across the board and governors. Unwinding this power, it's going to be tougher than I think people realize. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet, text, hope you are doing well. It's Woke Wednesday. We got a lot of good cancellations going on. Used to be only time you talk about cancellations was in the, when television shows were being canceled. Now it's who's canceled now? Who's canceled today? Who said something 12 years ago that somebody only heard a part of, but just the thought, that guy did something. So there you go. Oh, some good stuff. All right, let's talk about Wounded Paw. Amazing organization. Been working with them for quite a while. They rescue animals that are in shelters would otherwise be euthanized. They train them for vets, first responders, and their families. You know how hard it is. Vets come home. They've been in the theater of war. They're struggling with PTSD, sometimes injuries. They need your help. You could donate by giving a gift of a vehicle. The proceeds will go to train, right? So they're going to train these dogs. They're going to work with these dogs, and then they're going to get them to our first responders and veterans and their families. And it's truly incredible. Find out how you can donate by going to woundedpawproject.org. Gift of vehicle is great tax-deductible gift. And like I said, they're rescuing animals that were euthanized and training them for our veterans, first responders, and their family. Woundedpawproject.org, woundedpawproject.org. You'll be saving a paw to save a life. Chad Benson Show.
To be free. I am not a terrorist. I am not Antifa. I am not a sex slave that wears masks.
Don't be a cutie pie.
Probably sit around and cook some soups and eat bread and desserts and just get all fat and sassy.
You're ruining my life, man!
Yeah, you haven't seen anything yet.
You're listening to The Chad Benson Show.
Let me just repeat what you've heard from virtually every Republican in the House and Senate. This is a wildly expensive proposal, largely unrelated to the problem.
I like it. Be honest. It is. I mean, think about this for a second. You at home, so let's say you're married, right? Between the two of you guys make $100,000 a year, give or take. You're going to get $2,800. You got a couple kids. You get a little bit more money there. Majority of this money is going elsewhere to bail out some states that are in some serious trouble. And a lot of states, red and blue, not just blue. Top of that, it's going to go out there and pay for a lot of different special interests and throw money at stuff that right now the need is the people. The need is getting people back to work, getting us through this, and giving them essentially a bridge to get to the other side. The problem is nobody knows how far of a bridge we need to build. You've got $1 trillion not been spent. You're asking for another $1.9 trillion. It doesn't have to be. Let's focus on the people, and then we can do the political stuff afterwards. Battle that out. See, but why they put stuff like that in there is because essentially it's like, okay, look, here we're going to spend $1 trillion. And we're going to call this the Save the Penguins, M486 HR 9384, sponsored by such and such. And $1 million goes to Save the Penguins, and the other $999,900,000,000 goes to special interest. And you're like, I'm not voting for that. Well, it's because you hate penguins. Yes, that's exactly it. I hate penguins. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. I got penguin phobia. No, it's because when you can tie it to something that's soft and nice or that's right, if you say, I don't like this, where a lot of this stuff is going, then they paint you to be this evil person. Shouldn't be. Let's do something clean. Let's do something for the people. Let's bridge the gap and help them get from point A to point B. And let's start telling everybody where point B is going to be. And I know the states are going to be handling this, but President Biden and some of the uppers, you need to start having a little bit more of a positive attitude and telling everybody, hey, point B's over here. So when we're going to get there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Do you hate penguins? Of course. Who wouldn't? Jerks. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The name and the one shot, and I just felt like this is what I had to do.
That's somebody who got the Johnson & Johnson shot, baby. The one shot. I'm telling you guys, the one shot, it just shows you. Like, you know what it is? I was telling somebody yesterday, I said, think of it like this. Convenience matters to Americans like it matters to everybody else. I mean, if convenience didn't matter, we wouldn't push our cell phones to do what they do. We wouldn't ask everybody to have an app, something we can do. We love convenience. It's like getting a discount. And that's kind of what it is. If you have a chance to shop. I've talked to so many people, and they'll all say kind of the same thing. Some people say, I'll take whatever they give me. But if my choice is just get one shot and it's still 80% effective, and I know that I'm not going to die from this based on at least the tests that have been out there, the real world test in several different places against several different strains of coronavirus, you know what? Okay, I'll do that. Well, the other one's 95% effective. Well, this one's 80% effective. We'll be fine. All I got to do once. That's what we are about. Johnson & Johnson, people are pumped. It is the one-shot solution that a lot of people want, and it's convenient. So you've got the one shot, which makes it more convenient. Now it can be anywhere. Biden has promised he's going to get 1 quadrillion of these vaccines by May, enough to get everybody vaccinated. So when he comes out and says, I don't know if we're going to be, I don't know if by the end of the year we'll be back to normal. So wait a minute. We're going to have all of the stuff that we're going to need to vaccinate everybody. But you don't know if between May and the end of this year, if we'll return to normal? Either you're not telling us something, or you aren't ready quite to give up this fight. Too much in it for you as far as political sides of things. Anything can happen. There could be some new wacky strain that could come out. It's like, oh my God, none of these variants work. And it's, or you just don't want to give it up.
The vaccine ramp-up possible in part thanks to a new partnership. Merck and Johnson & Johnson teaming up to make more vaccines faster, enabling J&J to now have its 100 million doses ready by the end of May.
100 million. We'll have hundreds of millions from Pfizer and Moderna. So you tell me, if you're saying that by the end of the year, we may or may not be there, and you can't tell us that, right? You're not quite sure. I don't want to give it. You've given everybody every opportunity at that point to go get the damn shot if they want to get it. So what you're telling me is if you choose not to get it, we're going to go based on them.
When do you think things will get back to normal? When do you think things will get back to normal?
When do I think things will get back to normal? I've been cautioned not to give an answer to that because we don't know for sure. But my hope is by this time next year we're going to be back to normal, and before that, my hope. But again, it depends upon if people continue to be smart and understand that we still can have significant losses. Now's not the time to let our guard down. People's lives are at stake.
He's not interested in giving it up. They're not. I think they're sitting there saying to themselves, man, we got this big thing. We got a lot of control. Chad, that's ridiculous. You don't think so? You tell me if we have all of the things that we need in place, and there'll be 1 billion by the end of the year, 1 billion shots. So we've got everything in place. And you can't tell me that I can't give you an answer? My hope is next year at this time, but maybe not. You tell me what that is. You tell me. Again, anything can happen. Anything. We could also get hit by a meteor. Could happen. But that sound right there makes me feel like you guys are enjoying this. You guys are enjoying the power. Some people are going to push back, say, Chad, that's ridiculous. No, it's not. Look at and listen to that. Listen to that. Look at him when he talks about, I don't know, maybe next year. If everybody's got everything they need, they got everything at their disposal. I got everything. I've done everything you've asked. And you're still telling me not quite yet? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Of course, yesterday we talked about Dr. Seuss being, canceled. For those of you who don't know, 6 of his books were canceled. They're not going to print them anymore. And I was laughing. I tweeted out last night. You guys do realize, right? Like, you can go buy the Communist Manifesto. You can buy Marx. You can buy Nietzsche. You can buy Mein Kampf. Okay? But we're talking about Dr. Seuss. And I don't think you should get rid of anything, any literature, any of it. Let it be out there. Say it once, say it times, say it 1,000 times. So the last time you saw people go, we should really get rid of this book, and go, those are the good guys. No, it doesn't happen that way. It doesn't. It goes back to control, and it's ridiculous. It is. Are there things in the past that make people uncomfortable today? Yeah. You know that, and I know that. But are we no longer looking at nuance? Understanding what the nuance was, the context of the time, right? What was acceptable then, even though you find it to be not acceptable? Why don't we do that with anything else? Why don't we look back to people who used to eat with their hands and go, those people are gross and disgusting and they're vile. We shouldn't talk about them. Well, in their time, that's what they did. Well, they're gross, nasty, and gross and disgusting. No, it's because we don't. They didn't have bathrooms. They went outside. What a bunch of vile pigs. We don't do stuff like that. We're trying to do it. And it's about, in many cases, control. Leo Terrell.
As a student, as a young boy who read those books, as a civil rights attorney. And those images reflect the time in which the books were written in the 20s and 30s. I am not offended by those pictures because it talks about the evolution of this country and how we are now. And what those books reflected was a sign of the time. You cannot ignore history. You cannot eliminate history. There are worse pictures than that. Show me the immediate harm to victims today. They can't.
No, they can't. They can't. And that's the problem with so many of these arguments about canceling everything, it's because when you actually start to talk about something and you want to bring facts and reason into a debate, not an argument, you become the person that they can label something. And by labeling something, the whole thought process is I can shut down a conversation. How dare you want to talk facts with me? How dare you want to do that? How dare you want to even broach the subject of facts and reason and understanding and nuance and times that we live in compared to when we did? How dare you?
As a teacher, when I taught, you talk about the context of how these books were written. And what we have, I mean, it's being done with the movies, Huckleberry Finn, Gone with the Wind. For what purpose? To set a tone and to basically hurt economically, politically, and socially. I think it's horribly wrong. Cancel culture is going to backfire because it denies history.
And that's scary. You know, it's funny. It used to be, those who fail to essentially pay attention to history are doomed to repeat it. Now it's like we just want to cancel it. And it's catching up. It's catching up, and people are pissed. Bill Maher talked about it last weekend, about the fact. And it's funny, when I say, when I put something out there, people on the left in particular, oh, Chad, what about cancel culture on the right? Show me that. Has there been in the past? There has. Show me now. And there's a difference between saying, you know what, we're not going to have you speak here, or we're not going to have you do something because we found this out and we don't think this is right. We're not saying you should never work again. We're not saying we should destroy your life, right, is what they're saying. Some people on the left get it. They're like, come on, that's stupid. Bill Burr comes out, right, talks about Gina Carraro. It's like she was a sweetheart. She's nice. I don't get it. And he goes, me talking about this probably going to get me in trouble. Now I got to watch what I say, how I act. Yeah, that's what happens. Welcome to the world.
New rule, liberals need a stand your ground law for cancel culture so that when the woke mob comes after you for some ridiculous offense, you'll stand your ground. Stop apologizing, because I can't keep up anymore with who's on the list. Cancel culture is real, it's insane, and it's growing exponentially, and it's coming to a neighborhood near you. If you think it's just for celebrities, no. In an era where everyone is online, everyone is a public figure.
Yeah. And so much of it is about power. How can I get you to bend to my will based on something that I don't like, or I perceive it to be a slight for a culture, a race, a religion, and in many cases I'm not even involved with, but it doesn't matter because it's about exercising power.
Is this really who we want to become? A society of phony, clenched-ass avatars, walking on eggshells, always looking over your shoulder about getting ratted out for something that actually has nothing to do with your character or morals? Think about everything you've ever texted, emailed, searched for, tweeted, blogged, or said in passing. Andy Warhol was wrong. In the future, everyone will not experience 15 minutes of fame, but 15 minutes of shame.
Yeah. And that's all it takes. All it takes is one of those things. And nobody ever wants to see the accident afterwards, right? So you see the accident. There's a car accident or something. And everybody drives by and, they say, and they go away. Nobody sees the picking up the pieces, the life that has now foreverly altered and changed. Any of those. Nobody, because people don't care. They're pissed. They're angry. Oh, we're slowing down. Look at these idiots over here. I hope. And they don't. And that's the frustrating thing. And the fact that we live in a country that's supposed to be free and people are terrified to use their voice, waiting for a shoe to drop, waiting for somebody to come after them for something they did supposedly several years ago, heard in passing, wasn't quite sure, but I'm pretty sure it's that person. Or, hey, I saw a tweet that you did 6 years ago. Now, it was okay then, but I've decided to arbitrarily move today's wokeness back then with my retro time machine of anger.
62% of Americans say they have opinions they're afraid to share. 80% of Americans, young, old, rich, poor, conservative, liberal, white, minority, all hate the current atmosphere of hypersensitivity. Yeah, everybody hates it, and no one stands up to it. So if someone asks you if Justin Timberlake owes Britney Spears an apology for not being a perfect boyfriend when they were teenagers, just say yes.
No, he doesn't. He was 21. She was 19. Get over yourself. Get over yourself. But Britney, she's a grown woman who just watch her TikTok and any of that stuff and say, yeah, she should totally be involved with her own money. No, no, I'm not laughing. I'm just being honest. Coming out and apologizing for everything. Jiminy Cricket. What the hell is wrong with people? Get over it. You owe nobody anything, let alone people on the internet who you will never meet, ever. Just be honest. And if honesty gets you in trouble, well, there's bigger problems. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Rough Greens. Here's some honesty. My dog's 1,000 times better. Doodle, talk about him, fatty tumors in his hips. Arthritis, joint pain, was a hot mess. We were going to put him to sleep because he bit. Just if you got near him and he touched his hip wrong or tried to move him, he would snap at you. And because he was in so much pain. Started giving this a year ago. It's Canine VitaSmart. You just sprinkle it on your dog's food. Boom. Next thing you know, after 7 days, you see a difference. After 2 weeks, I was like, well, we're a year into this thing. He's like a puppy. But he's got a little bit of the gray in the beard. You know how it goes. It's got all the things your dog's food doesn't have. Vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omega-3, 6, 9, and it has helped. Helps with joint pain, helps with immunity, helps with all of the things that you think your dog would need, from their bad breath to a shinier coat and more activity. Get it today for free. Try it. Go to roughgreens.com/Chad, ruffgreens.com/Chad, or call 833-MY-DOG. 77 833 my dog 77. Pay for shipping. They're going to send you a bag for free. Rough Greens. We make any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
Bunny Wailer was a founding member of the Wailers alongside Bob Marley and Peter Tosh, born Neville Livingston in Jamaica in 1947. Bunny Wailer and Bob Marley were basically stepbrothers. The Wailers' first album, The Wailing Wailers, debuting in 1965. Marley and Tosh did most of the main singing and songwriting, but Bunny's soul shined through on several tracks, including Dreamland.
There's a land.
After leaving the Wailers in 1974 over issues with the direction of the group, Bunny launched a successful solo career, scoring several Grammys. He suffered his second stroke last year and died Tuesday in Jamaica. Bunny Wailer was 73.
Bunny, man. So, Peter Tosh, who was gunned down. For those of you guys who don't know. Yeah, so you had Bunny, and then, of course, you had Bob. I watched a couple months ago, I watched this great breakdown of and documentary of just him, the life that they led, how they were in this small little area that they moved to a bigger city so mom could have more opportunity at work, and they were in this just like confined area, and it was all about the music. They were just like, yeah, and they kind of got into it, and they were all together, and it was a trip. It was a trip to watch the way that they did things and how on the island, how things broke down. You had to deal with some unsavory characters, if you will. But the influence, I tell everybody, the influence of these of the islands in the music, reggae, ska, oh, awesome. And Bunny, what a cool name, Bunny Wailer. Now all we have left is Bunny Carlos. For those of you Cheap Trick fans, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Somebody says, Chad, let me show you examples of the GOP canceling, or are you going to keep pretending it's a left issue? Is it cancel culture when Tesla fires a worker for union organizing? Which way do unions go? Left. That's Tesla. MSNBC fires Phil Donahue when he's against the Iraq War. I don't really remember that happening. Does anybody? Or when a Texas teacher is fired for supporting Palestinians. Now, are you supporting Palestinians? Or are you saying, let's kill Israel and all the Jews? Then there's something, right? Is that? By the way, and the difference is, Phil could have worked. You can go get another job, right? You can go teach somewhere else. You blow somebody out for good and try to cancel them, especially, I mean, a lot of people out there, they're trying to cancel everything. They don't want any part of you anymore. Oh, yeah. People don't get that, though. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
When do you think things will get back to normal? When do you think things will get back to normal?
When do I think things will get back to normal? I've been cautioned not to give an answer to that because we don't know for sure. But my hope is by this time next year we're going to be back to normal, and before that, my hope. But again, it depends upon if people continue to be smart and understand that we still can have significant losses. Now's not the time to let our guard down. People's lives are at stake.
Texas?
Effective next Wednesday, all businesses of any type are allowed to open 100%. That includes any type of entity in Texas. Also, I am ending the statewide mask mandate.
Governor Abbott. Biden, I don't know when we may ever get back to normal. Ever, if ever, can happen. Maybe, never, I don't. Texas, today! Now! We're doing it now! Take your are you going to do that thing, like, when you graduate high school and you take your hat off, you throw it in the air? You can do that with your mask? Are you? No, I don't think so. So this is what? So you heard what Biden said, right? You just heard what he said. Don't know. Maybe next year, maybe the end of this year, maybe next year, but I don't know. So we're not going to have enough vaccines?
We're now on track to have enough vaccine supply for every adult in America by the end of May.
Okay. Because we're not vaccinating. If your thought process is we have to vaccinate all the children as well before we can get back to normal on a disease that doesn't affect children like it does adults, is far more deadly for adults than children. Look at the numbers. If your goal is to make sure that all the kids get it as well before we return back to what you consider to be normal, then we're screwed. Somebody said, would you have your son? I said, first of all, Jack, I pretty much has already had it because we all had it, and he was with me, so he didn't feel good for a day, and then he moved on. He was fine. Secondly, I'm like, no, he doesn't need to. He's been, look, so many of these kids nowadays have been dipped in Purell. A little bit of skin in the knees isn't going to hurt them. Well, some kids can die from it. More kids die from the flu, and we don't shut everything down. We don't. Don't do that. Is it really about that? No. Are people upset? Absolutely, in Texas. Particularly Democratic mayors.
We should be guided by the science and the data. And this decision today is, it just puts everything we have worked so hard to get at risk. I think everybody here in Texas and Austin is just dumbfounded.
No, I think a lot of people in Texas are like, good, let's do it. That's why people went to Texas. Like people are moving to Texas. Texas is that free kind of area where they say, you know what? This is what it is. This is what liberty and freedom looks like. Well, they're going to go to hell and it's all going to fall apart. They're all going to die. Maybe. You don't have to go to a store. Nobody's forcing you to do anything. If you want to have your mask mandate, I bet the cities could have their mask mandate if they want to, and stores could have it. It's your store. I'll go back to this and I'll do it again. If you go to Costco today and they say, hey, it's top hat and tails Wednesday, you can't get in unless you have top hat and tails. Well, you better figure out where you buy top hat and tails if you really want to go in to buy a 15-gallon jar of mayonnaise. You could still wear a mask if you're worried about it. You could double mask. You could triple mask. You could quadruple mask if you want to. You're being forced to do anything. It should be about a choice. The beginning of this, the thought process was this is the, how it was being spun was the version of it's like the Ebola virus meets the flu. It wasn't. It was for some people kind of like it's not like the flu. What are your symptoms? Headache, fever, achy body. For some people, upset stomach. Some people, they lose taste or smell. Everybody reacts different, but there's kind of 4 or 5 things that are right there. I had a headache. I had a little bit of a fever. I was really tired. Remember, I did it. I wear my mask all the time. I do all the things I'm supposed to. I respect the people around me. I don't know what somebody's going through. I also know people that I work with closely here in the afternoons. 2 of them have underlying conditions. I respect that. It's just nuts. It is. And people are going to, oh, God, so many people are like, Texas, it's just a mess. Well, they're going to do their thing. And all the states are going to do their thing at the end of the day. But based on no science, follow the science. I love it, though. So we should just follow the science. Okay, let's follow the science. You close down outdoor dining. Where was the science in that? There was no science in that. You knew that. A week before Halloween, they're like, places are like, we're not going to allow people to go trick-or-treating. And then people threw a fit, and they're like, all right, we're going to allow it. Well, what was the science? It was about optics. Optics in so many cases. And there's never anybody who's allowed to come over and say, let's really talk about this. Let's have a discussion about this. They're going to do what they do. Your state's going to do what your state does. But you're still going to be responsible for you. That's it. It's the way it should be. Are we getting to a point where we're reaching some herd immunity? Yeah, we are. Well, how can that be? People aren't vaccinated because we undercount how many people have really had this thing. We undercount the asymptomatics. We've undercounted them. In some cases, some people say 5 times, 10 times as many. I don't think cut it in half. Some states are closing in on that. I'm out here in Arizona. Based on the number of vaccines, the number of people who have had it, if you say, you're looking at like 2.7 million. Now, we have 7 million people in the state, but there's a lot of kids here, under 18. But if you add another probably million people to asymptomatics who you didn't know had it and they didn't know they had it, you're closing in almost 50% of the state. I'm doing the math. Well, that's only 50%. Yeah, but we're not talking children. Children get kind of pushed out of the equation because they're not getting the vaccine. So then we're closing in at probably closer to 70+% of people that have either had it, had a vaccine, or did know they had it, but have the antibodies because, yeah, they thought it was a cold or it was nothing. I was just tired for a day and I was fine. We will not get there through vaccination alone, but we will get there. But when you have people come out, go, I can't believe I'm dumbfounded by this. First of all, you're in Texas. Why are you dumbfounded by that? I'm curious. You're in Texas. I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner. The only other thing surprised me more is Florida didn't even recognize that there was a COVID thing going on. They did for like a week. They're like, this is stupid. Let's not do this anymore. Everything's open. Now it's totally open. But your state will handle it. And unwinding that power that they have taken, and then some people have given them even more, will be tougher. You can do this in a responsible way. I think many states will. But you still have to be responsible for you. You do. I could be forced to go anywhere. I love how people are like, well, now they tell me I don't have to wear a mask. They're going to make me go into a crowd again and lick all those poles and lick the doorknobs and just, no. Be responsible for yourself. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. Love, hate. It is, of course, Woke Wednesday, and we do love Woke Wednesday. We've been talking about it. In particular, Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss wasn't canceled. They moved some of his books out. But the irony of it is, the fact is you can get books out there. Everybody's gotten it. Well, it's not canceling. We're moving some of his stuff. But I go back to, it's not just Dr. Seuss. I mean, remember in San Francisco, they tried to cancel Abraham Lincoln. Think about that for a second. In the midst of all the chaos that's going on, they tried to cancel Abraham Lincoln, take his name off of school because he wasn't quite what he should have been based on today's metrics. That is silly. So if you think that this is not a big, it is. And this is the Civil War. It's a cultural civil war. It's nuanced and it's subtle. But much like the frog being thrown into a hot pan and jumping out, the way it works, put it in a cool pan of water, slowly turn it up, he'll acclimate. Then you've got issues. Then it boils. This is the subtleness of it all. It starts with little things, then grows. Then the next thing you know, you're at work surrounded by people being brought in every single day who are woke, looking to be offended, finding racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia in every single thing. You're in front of HR every single day, being told you've got to do another 14 hours of some sort of thing. This is the Civil War that's going on. It's not going to be with guns. It's going to be with common sense. And this is what needs to happen. You need to fight back. You need to push back. We can have conversations. We can disagree without trying to destroy somebody. We can go, you know what? Back in the 20s and 30s, and he was writing about what he knew in the context, and he was trying to use some of this stuff and even his political cartoons to make points. You don't see it that way, but there you go. And you can always not buy the book. There's always that, too. Because how many of you yesterday didn't even realize there was that many Dr. Seuss books? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Oh, home title lock. Get your home title lock. Protect your house. We've done it with ours. Because I do worry, that somebody could come and steal your title. And people are like, that's just stupid, Chad. That really can't. No, it does happen. It happens more than people realize. You see what goes on now with cyber criminals. Well, they'll go in and they'll take over a hospital's entire network. And they'll force them essentially to pay ransom to get back control of their network. And it's cheaper than just building a new network. So that's what they do kind of with titles. They go, they do it. Sometimes they're even saying, hey, pay us in Bitcoin, pay us in this, or we're going to just take everything and sell it. And you're going, I'm going to have to pay $250,000 potentially in legal fees to fight these guys for years. It's just easier to pay them. With Home Title Lock, they'll alert you if anything happens to your title. Right now, nothing happens. People can go find it out. It's public knowledge. They can take it, boom, forge your signature, sign it over to themselves, and away they go. Home Title Lock. Get yourself protected today. Find out if you've been a victim. Go to HomeTitleLock.com. Use code radio. 30 days free protection. HomeTitleLock.com. Code radio. HomeTitleLock.com. Code radio. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let's take a look and find out what's trending on the old interwebs across the interwebian lands. Shall we? Start first and foremost with Twitter. Apparently, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, royal aides claimed that Meghan, the Duchess of Sussex, was subject to a bullying complaint. I don't know who bullied said person. Denmark. People respond after Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez compared the wages of McDonald's work in Denmark to the $15 an hour minimum wage that was proposed by Biden's COVID relief bill. We're going to touch on that. AOC. It's very funny, though. I always laugh about this. Okay, so you want to take all of the benefits that the Swedes, the Scandinavians, the Danes, and the Norwegians. You want to take all of the benefits that the government gives out to people, but you won't do any of the things that they do. By the way, they send home refugees. Secondly, well, that's not very nice. There is no wealth tax. There's also no minimum wage. Right? So there's a lot of things but you won't talk about those things. Nobody does. Nobody wants to talk about that side of it. But she's always fun because she gives as good as she gets. Eminem's being canceled. Apparently, the younger generation's canceling him. Gen Z are criticizing him. So the millennials are fine with him. Gen Z's coming. See, this is what's happening, right? So I'm Gen X. So Gen X really didn't care what you did because we grew up in the world of punk, right? We like punk. So we don't care. We like it, scream, yell, rah. The older generation, baby boomers, they're not canceling anybody, right? And the greatest generation is like, we fought the damn Nazis so you could cancel Dr. Seuss. That's what they're thinking. But the younger generation, the millennials, they're trying to cancel the Gen Xers, and now the millennials are pissed because the Gen Zs are trying to cancel them. I was reading last week how they were making fun of the fact that skinny jeans are stupid. Somebody did point out, look, they are not skinny jeans when you're in your 20s, but sometimes you get into your 30s, you've had some snacks, they become skinny. You grow into it, if you will. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Tweet, text, love hearing from you, Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Well, hey, it's me. I'm finally going to get my vaccine. I'm so excited.
We can all breathe a little easier. National treasure Dolly Parton now vaccinated for COVID-19, at least with the first shot. And she remixed one of her most famous songs for the occasion.
Vaccine, 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 vaccine. I'm begging of you, please don't hesitate.
She was vaccinated at Vanderbilt University Medical Center in Nashville, where she donated $1 million last year, a donation that went to help fund research for the Moderna vaccine.
Yeah. Her friend was one of the lead people there. And she goes, I'll give you some money, because she is awesome. She is a national treasure, right? Can we all agree? It's Dollywood. It's Dolly Parton. I try to, there are a few, in particular, country stars. Ireland, Australia, big with country. But she was bigger. She was one of the ones, when I lived over in Europe, that everybody knew who Dolly was. Like, they wouldn't know who certain country stars. They would have no idea. I don't know. Like, Ireland did, because there's a lot of mixture in a lot of that stuff in Irish music and country music, the bluegrass and stuff. But everybody knew who Dolly was. She's one of those ones where all you say is Dolly. Like, oh, yeah, Dolly Parton. I know her. Bigger people go, Dolly Madison? And you're like, no. Dolly Parton. Oh, her. I like cupcakes. Chad, you being mean. But she got herself vaccinated. Trying to show everybody out there, go get yourself vaccinated, right? Go get yourself vaccinated. Don't be afraid to get yourself vaccinated.
So I just want to say to all of you cowards out there, don't be such a chicken squat. Get out there and get shot.
I love that. Don't be such a chicken squat. Get out there and get it done. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. It is Woke Wednesday, so now we're canceling and or trying to cancel. And let's go. First of all, let's break down canceling. Canceling it's a lot of things. We want to get you fired, right? We don't want you, for some people, it's like we want to do everything we can to erase you from whatever it was. For some people, it's history. Let's get rid of everything. For other people, it's, hey, we're not so much wanting you to cancel. We'd like you to apologize for something. And for some, it's just how can we make you feel awful? Right? Listen to this.
With very few exceptions, like Mitt Romney, Liz Cheney, Adam Kinzinger, there are so few Republicans in Congress who value truth, honesty, and integrity. And so they'll continue to gaslight the country the way that Donald Trump did. And the fact that this has such security and safety implications for the American public and for the members of Congress, it is just a disgusting display of craven politics that really should have no place in the United States in 2021. I'm increasingly embarrassed to be a white male these days. And
I'm embarrassed. That right there, by the way, is your former CIA director. Because we know the CIA has never done anything wrong. Hey, you guys want to go into Cambodia? Maybe do some secret bombings? Let's see if we can ratchet this thing up a bit. See if we can get them going. Let's see if we can pick fights with two sides. Let's do some stuff. Anybody want to do some stuff? Let's do some stuff. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. So we're getting rid of Eminem. It's funny, though. We do pick and choose our people we get rid of. And this is where the left has it better. Look, I've never said the right. The right's done a bunch of crap. I'm not saying that. They're just not good at it. The way the left is. The media is completely controlled in so many ways. It's a great article out there about one of the best writers the Times had, who was canceled himself and fired. And, of course, just essentially he's evil and bad. He used the N-word in a situation. And if you read the article, you found out, okay, there's context here, the way that he was doing. So in doing that, though, people were upset with him. and wanted him fired. Well, they really wanted him to resign. And I'm just going to keep it simple, stupid. And essentially, his best friend's kind of like the dude. And he's like, I don't think you should. I don't think you did anything wrong. I don't think you're a racist, but you got to go. Wait. You think I haven't done anything wrong? Yeah, you have to go. But you think I'm right? Yeah, I think you're totally right. I don't think you did anything wrong. But the optics are you have to go. That's so much of what it is. Does it make you feel good? Does it make you feel good? I mean, my God, over the weekend, Oreo cookies tweeted out trans lives matter or something like that. I'm like, you know what I want with my cookies? Cookies. That's it. I don't want anything else. I want your cookie not to suck. That's it. I don't want you to be woke. I want you to be a cookie. I don't need you to have some sort of activism. Hey, just before I eat this cookie, I want to tell you guys this. And then whatever your activism is, Black Lives Matter, Oreo cookies. It's stop it. Stop pandering. My God. Now you know what? I don't want to eat an Oreo cookie. Not a big Oreo fan anyways. I do like are they the vanilla? Are they the yellow? I don't know. Did I probably offended somebody there. Well, what'd you say that for, Chad? Why's it got to be vanilla or yellow in your true story? I don't need you to be woke. I just need you to make a cookie. I don't need you to make a stand. I'm like, hey guys, before we make this super serious decision, let's turn to Oreo and ask them how they feel about this. You clowns. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from you. So tax. We all love tax. Tax is going to be tough right now. I know the Democrats are super excited. They feel like they can do anything they want, which they're finding out that's becoming tougher because you've got two wild cards in the equation, which is Joe Manchin, very red state, West Virginia, and Kyrsten Sinema, kind of a purple state, kind of heading blue, Democrat, but what she once was, which, by the way, in real life was left of AOC, and what she is now, very independent, very punk rock, very much herself, and they have really pushed to have some stuff taken out of the bills. But, you know, you got to look at the taxes, right? Because all the stuff we want to do is going to have to be taxes somewhere. So how do you get taxes? Well, you attack everybody you can who's got money and take it from them if you can. Now, people should pay their fair share. But if you give me the rules of a game and I figure out, okay, here's the rules of the game, I played within the parameters that you set up and I beat you, and then you're pissed because you wanted to win, then you either better figure out how to change those rules. Right? Don't you think? I.e., you've given me the here's the tax codes, all 58 trillion of them, and I played within those rules, and this is what I paid, and I still paid a damn a lot of taxes, but in doing so, you didn't like that.
The implementation part is really a lot easier than it looks. Remember the way that the wealth tax is built. It says if your fortune is below $50 million, nothing. We're not talking to you. If it's above $50 million, your 50 millionth and first dollar, you got to pitch in 2 cents, 2 cents for every dollar above that. You hit $1 billion in assets, you got to pitch in a few pennies more.
It's always a few pennies more. And you start going down, and it's like, well, it's not a lot of pennies. It does seem like quarters now, and some of those quarters seem like dollars. And I love how they say it's always about holding people accountable. For what? For being wealthy? For making money? For being a success? You overthink the money thing because your desire is on how can I take that and redistribute wealth.
We learned from some of the mistakes they made in Europe. So this version of the wealth tax says it covers all of your property. Doesn't matter whether it's held in stock or in real estate or in racehorses. Everything is covered. So there's no point in moving property around. Also, wherever you hold it, it is covered. Whether you hold it here in the U.S., whether you hold it in the Cayman Islands.
So no matter where you are, they're coming to get you. No matter where you are, they're coming to get you. And I've never been a person that really cares what somebody else has. That's not my thing. Hey, this person made $1 billion. Good for them. If they didn't make $1 billion or they did make $1 billion, did it affect your life? No. Well, then, okay, good. Then that's fine. Stay in. This is the lane I've chosen. I'm staying here. It is what it is. What somebody else has. Are they creating jobs? Probably. Unless they won the lottery, they're probably creating jobs. So, and they're employing people, and we can go on and on and on. So I'm listening to this, and here's the funny thing. It's never worked. Wealth taxes have never worked. They haven't. Ever. It just doesn't go. It's like, well, no, it doesn't. What she's talking about, it just doesn't work.
I hope you're embarrassed to ask if 2 cents is confiscatory. This is 2 cents on assets above $50 million. Since the pandemic, our 660 billionaires in America have increased their wealth by $1.3 trillion. This wealth tax will raise about $3 trillion over 10 years. And that's money we reinvest.
But how you reinvest it? So here's the other thing. I think a lot of people that think this sounds like a great idea, because it always sounds like it's the implementation that fails. And like I said, it doesn't work.
Every time we've reduced the capital gains tax rate, higher income people have paid more in taxes, and we've had more growth, and there have been more jobs for everybody. So if you're into hate and envy, go ahead and do the wealth tax. There's a lot of selective discussion about where the wealth tax has succeeded. 15 countries have put in a wealth tax. 11 got rid of them because they discovered how dysfunctional it was.
And the other 4 aren't too far behind. It's just not working the way they thought. It doesn't. And then you go back into the thought process of, hold on a second. Is this even is this a fair thing? So you can do what with wealth? You want to do what?
Okay, it's not punitive. So they haven't broken any laws to accrue all this wealth. Okay. Then we are actually deciding that maybe they've made enough to a certain point where they don't need all of it. Now, bear with me for a second. If you're going to do 2% on 50 million, and then when you get up to $1 billion and you're going to do 3%, if we've crossed the Rubicon and said you have more money than you can ever spend and you don't need it and you need to help out the rest of us, why not make it truly progressive and do 10% at $1 billion, do 20% at $10 billion? Wait, once you get started and raise some real money, what would be the problem? Why would Bezos do 3% when some poor schmo at only 50 million does 2%?
Don't give her an idea, right? Don't give her an idea. The whole thought process is you're going to go out and you're going to do something. Why not go further? Why not take it a step further? Wealth tax. How about a debt tax? By the way, there's no debt tax in the Scandinavian countries because it's stupid. Hey, you died, so I'm taking 50% of what you had. That's dumb. That's their thing they're looking at. Capital gains. Go ahead, raise capital gains to the rate that you want to raise it to. What do you think is going to happen? People who are investors are going to take their money and flee to other things. What's that do for your 401k? What's that do for business growth? It's little things. Because all they're looking at is how can I take that money and reinvest it? There's plenty of money out there. It's what you do with it, how you spend it, and how you hold people accountable for the way that they run the programs that you give it to that we should be focusing on. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, tweet, text. Love hearing from all of you. We're going to talk about a mullet in a minute. Not the fish either, by the way. Not the fish. Although that would be cool. What if you did that? What if you're like, oh, yeah, you've got a mullet. And then you found out like this guy he has fish on the back of his head because there's a mullet fish. How about that? Car Shield. 24/7 roadside assistance. A rental car for free while your car's in the shop. You, right there. You choose the shop that you take it to. They get them paid directly. So when that check engine light comes on, you don't have to freak out going, oh, my God, I'll get paid for 2 weeks now. What's the thing going to be? No. Just take it right there. They get it handled for you, pay a small deductible, and guess what? They handle the rest. Beauty of Car Shield is the fact that they've got plans to fit everybody's budget to help you with covered repairs. So whether your car's got 5,000 or 150,000 miles on it, Car Shield's there to help. Over 1 million drivers helped. It's America's #1 auto protection company. That is Car Shield. Find out what they can do for you today. Call them. Get covered. 800-665-2157. 800-665-2157. Mention code Benson, save 10%. Or carshield.com, carshield.com. Code Benson saves you 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
Serving up talk radio medium rare and dripping with irony. It's Chad Benson.
That's us, kids. We posted on our Facebook page. You guys can check it out about Dolly Parton. You got some of those loonies out there. We just wait till everybody dies from the vaccine. Dolly, it's going to be your fault. I'm here to tell you, whether you get a vaccine or don't, you will die. Nobody gets out alive. Talk to Father Time. He's undefeated. Now, people are changing that. If you even believe this is a real world and we're not some sort of simulation like The Sims, nobody gets out alive. This is crazy. People are attacking her. Well, you just I'll show you, Dolly. I'll show you. Hey, kids! Dolly. So check this out. You got to watch out for raccoons. I'm just saying. Where would a raccoon attack take place? Florida.
It's very, very important to make sure that your own domestic animals have the rabies shot.
Yeah, get those, because these raccoons are crazy.
We have these raccoons that come into our yard all the time, and I'm guessing it was probably one of those raccoons.
Dude, I'm totally guessing, bro. This raccoon totally came up. I thought it was a raccoon. Might have been, I don't know, could have been a parrot. What? It's totally, man. It came over in Fort Lauderdale's where we're at, man, and we're just chilling. And then it just came over, and then it was like it was in the Shady Banks neighborhood, and totally bit this two ladies. Yeah, so I was like, oh, that sucks. So now they're gonna have to be, like, are they gonna be okay? Because they're raccoons and the ladies. Florida's great. Nature will mess you up, and it will also make us laugh at times. Here's some of the things they're telling people not to do. Keep your rabies vaccination up to date for all pets. Because if you get bit or they get bit and you don't think anything of it, then all of a sudden you get it, and then it gets to a point where it's passed way too much, and then you get hydrophobia, and it's over, and they can't do anything, and you die. All right? Don't allow your pets to run free. Right? Don't handle, feed, or unintentionally attract wild animals with outdoor food sources. And we all know that they like to go inside of trash cans. Never adopt a wild animal or bring them into your home. Teach children never to handle unfamiliar animals. And here's my favorite one. We're talking about raccoons, but this is the one that they're sending out to everybody. Prevent bats from entering living quarters, which you know. You don't do that. And the only way that vampires can get in is you have to invite them in. And this includes churches and schools. Florida. Woo! 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Tweet at us, Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
When do you think things will get back to normal? When do you think things will get back to normal?
When do I think things will get back to normal? I've been cautioned not to give an answer to that because we don't know for sure. But my hope is by this time next year we're going to be back to normal, and before that, my hope. But again, it depends upon if people continue to be smart and understand that we still can have significant losses. Now's not the time to let our guard down. People's lives are at stake.
Wow. Meanwhile, in Texas,
effective next Wednesday, all businesses of any type are allowed to open 100%. That includes any type of entity in Texas. Also, I am ending the statewide mask mandate.
The biggest cheer, by the way, yesterday was the mask mandate. If you don't go anywhere and you're stuck because your industry's been destroyed by the pandemic and poor leadership, you're happy that it's opening up. I think most people are. But if you still had to go to work and do stuff, and the mask mandate's more important, yes, finally. Because everybody listening right there, whether you believe we should wear masks forever, I don't think it's that far. That's silly, Chad, or maybe. Or whether you think, we should never have having to wear masks. Everybody out there has done the walk to the front of a store and go, son of a bleep, and turn around and have to walk back and get a mask. Everybody's torn apart their car in some way, shape, or form to search for a mask. I left my mask in. Oh, my God. I can't even. I just got to get one thing. Everybody has. We're getting closer. When can we take our mask off? That's a win. Because according to the guy there that we were just listening to, Biden, we don't know when we're going to get to any kind of normalcy. Zero chances as far as him telling us when that could happen. But I'm asking you, if we have enough vaccines.
We're now on track to have enough vaccine supply for every adult in America by the end of May.
Okay, so for every adult in America, you can read it two ways when it comes to this. Okay, that's great. So that means that we can get back out there. But not everybody's going to take it. Okay, I understand there's going to be some people religious reasons, other people crazy, other people allergies. Okay, but still, we'll have enough. But every adult, that word adult, makes me think, we should probably still hold off because kids could still carry this thing, and we better make sure that the kids can get a vaccine before we can really get back to normal way of life. My kids won't get one, not because I don't think that the vaccine's a good thing. It doesn't affect them the same way. It just doesn't. You don't care about you don't treat the flu like this with the kids. And if you're going to use the kids as a reason to prolong this, I'm sorry. That's insane. He said adults. Isn't that what it's about? It's about getting the needle in the arm of adults who are willing to take this. That's what it's about. You couple that with the people who've had it, and then the people that were asymptomatic, which we don't know about, but you've got to feel that based on science, the asymptomatic, which all of them have said, is anywhere between 2 to some people say 10 times higher because of how easy it spreads, that we're getting close to that herd immunity. So when we get close to that herd immunity, are you going to move the goalpost and say, well, now we got to get the kids? And this would really be something when it comes to schools where I think people were going to lose it. They're going to lose it if the thought is now, well, we got to get the kids first sorted out, then we can open schools safely. No, sorry. It's time for that to happen. It's time for that to take place. It's time. It is. If you've got the shot, time to get back in school. Am I wrong? Is that wrong? We have kids who are falling not just kind of behind. We're talking generationally behind based on some studies.
Right now, an entire generation of young people is on the brink of being set back a year or more in their learning. You can ask millions of parents. They understand. We're already seeing rising mental health concerns due in part to isolation. Educational disparities that have always existed grow wider each day that our schools remain closed and remote learning isn't the same for every student, as you all know. Our educators are doing everything they can to protect and educate our students despite the lack of resources and as districts face budget crises that risk education jobs.
So they're falling behind. We get this. CDC, new study. According to the CDC, 96% of school children still unsafe for full-time in-person learning. 96%? 96%? Only 4% of the nation's school children live in counties where coronavirus transmission is low enough for full-time in-person learning without additional restrictions. Well, look, children aren't. We're not doing this for the flu. Flu season is far worse for kids than it is for adults. We don't do that with the kids. This is always about the adults, right? Well, for some unions, it's not about the adults. As far as, oh, we want them to be safe. It's about the adults in unions using power to do certain things and control certain things. That's the reality of it. LA's teachers union condemns school reopening deal as propagating structural racism. You got the one of the heads of the unions out there in Southern California or Northern California saying, hey, it's totally unsafe for kids to be in school and for teachers to be in school, all the while dropping off his kids at a private school for in-learning. Kids need to be in the classroom. Teachers want to teach. Unions want a union. They want to do union-like things. CDC comes out, says 96%. Oh, my God. So what does that mean? Says, well, this means it's more unlikely that students will be back in school full-time before the summer. Some states will be. Arkansas, Florida, Iowa, Texas. You guys know what we're talking about. But I have a feeling that come summer through fall, other people and the powers that be are going to push back in some ways, where you're going to find out that some schools will not be opening on time with students and still in some sort of hybrid model, and some may push back and say, now maybe the kids do need to be vaccinated. New Mexico. All the teachers want to get to the front of the line. I got zero problems. I was the one who said the first thing I would do is make sure teachers got vaccinated so kids can get in school so we can get back to some normal. Well, if we're talking about the she session is what they call it, where women have taken off to take care of the children, being the primarily the home taker care of, especially when it comes to school because you want dad doing math. And what ends up happening? Women are losing out during this recession far worse than men. So while that's going on, women are getting frustrated. They want to get back in there. Teachers, I say get front of the line. A lot of school districts said, yeah, let's do that. Then you've got some out there, New Mexico last week, that says, well, I know we were there, but we took a poll of all of our teachers, and the majority of them want the kids to get vaccinated before they come back in-person learning. Well, it's not the way it works. Virginia tried to basically say, look, if you're not willing to go back in the classroom, you shouldn't be getting the vaccine before anybody else. Welcome to politics. And if you think politics cannot be found in anything in the world, I guarantee you, from things like studying rocks to space, there's politics involved. And yesterday I was arguing with my other on-air partner when I do my local show, and he's like, I said, let me ask you a question. Why is it that only one side ever seems to have the opportunity to talk about anything? Why is that? Why is it that one side they only get to present their science? I said, who's writing the check? What's that supposed to mean? People who write the check are looking for certain things. People who write that check. Everybody should have an opportunity to talk. And he said, well, I just go what the science says. Well, this scientist says something, and this scientist said something. But for whatever reason, this scientist over here, everybody holds this person up. This person over here is an idiot or doesn't even have a voice. Chances are both of them are a little bit right and a little bit wrong. But listen to that word again, adults. Makes you think. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Raycon, best earbuds around. Love my Raycons. All the time I'm working with my Raycons. Doesn't matter what I'm doing. At all. Doesn't matter if I'm working out, if I'm hitting golf balls, if I am just I'm video editing, doing a bunch of other stuff for my other company and for myself. And guess what? My Raycons are on. 6 hours of talk time, seamless Bluetooth bearing, the best sound design, but the noise isolating fit. That is what changes. It truly makes it a game changer. And Ray J put this thing together, and the thought process was, how do I, an entrepreneur, but also a guy who's been in the music industry forever, make this that much better? And it was with the fit, and the fit's incredible. Try it for yourself. Starts well under $100. There's no stems. There's no wires. You will love these earbuds. Normally, you'd spend $200-300 on anything close to this. 45-day money-back guarantee starts under $100. BuyRaycon.com/Chad. 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 Save that extra 15%. Chad Benson Show.
I can't take it anymore!
Well, get over it. It's time to forge a new path with your very own political cartographer, Chad.
We have more than 7,000 unaccompanied kids who have come into the United States, and that is certainly a lot of children that we are trying to treat humanely and safely and process through the system as quickly as we can. That's not easy. That is a challenge.
Jen Psaki. You know what's interesting? There's 7,000 unaccompanied minors. We don't let kids go across the street and play by themselves without telling them we're going to take them away from their parents. How dare you free range your children? You let them walk to the park by yourself? My God! Do you imagine all the things that could have happened? These kids are walking here from God knows where, hundreds of miles with strangers or relatives that they really don't know or friends. I just found that weird. It's the whole thought we're going to do everything we can to reunite some of these with their parents and let them come here. So you want to take a child away from a parent who lets their kid essentially be what we used to call a latchkey kid, would go home and live their life, and they're 8 or 9 and they're home by themselves. And how dare they do that? But kids who are sent here on a perilous journey through cartel-infested lands, you're like, we should bring their mom and dad here, celebrate them. It's an odd thing. Look, I find it weird. I do. I find it bizarre. I think if you send your kid on a perilous journey like that, you really want your kid to get here, and you're willing to do that, I don't think you should be rewarded for it. I understand, right? I understand why we would, no, if we're doing it, we're doing it. We're going. But I also look at it it's oh, your kid's outside by himself, playing in the street, riding a bike, doesn't have a helmet on. Do you understand the safety bubble of which we live in? Do you get that? We don't bat an eye if somebody else's kid walks 300 miles, 1,000 miles. Kids outside riding a bike without a helmet. They're like, we should call it CPS. It's nuts. It is.
The Biden administration between a rock and a hard place when it comes to asylum seekers.
We are not encouraging people to come.
Spokesperson Jen Psaki acknowledging the desperation many face coming to the U.S., but says they must first fix problems left by the last president. Still,
we also believe differently from the past administration that we are not going to turn away kids who are under 18.
It's crazy. Sorry. I find the entire thing just lunacy. There is a thing that we should fix. Why aren't we asking real questions? Right? We don't ask that. We want to put a Band-Aid on something. We're not fixing the border. We're not interested in that. We're not interested in trying to come up with real common sense legislation that would allow people to come here freely and work and then also return home. To do it in a legal way. And we're not saying, why are they coming here in the first place? Because we say that, and then we just send them money, but we don't really do anything about that and have any real accountability towards nations that we spend God knows how much, hundreds of millions of dollars to, Central America. It's a joke. It is. So before you go and say, well, he left the mess, you know what? The kid thing was not a good idea. It was a bad idea. I said it from the beginning. And I'll say it again. The separation like that. But the disingenuousness of the media and the left over what was going on then compared to what's going on now. And the fact that he inherited a mess, and any time that anybody wants to clean a mess up because everybody else has kicked it down the road so far with that can, is a Richard. You're a jerk. You're awful. You're horrible. Because when you try to clean up a mess, you're going to what? You're going to piss people off. And you're going to make another mess for them. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
When do you think things will get back to normal? When do you think things will get back to normal?
When do I think things will get back to normal? I've been cautioned not to give an answer to that because we don't know for sure. But my hope is by this time next year we're going to be back to normal, and before that, my hope. But again, it depends upon if people continue to be smart and understand that we still can have significant losses. Now's not the time to let our guard down. People's lives are at stake.
There you go. Normal. I don't even know what normal is anymore. Oh, yeah, it is. It's living life. Let's get back to normal. Texas is doing it. They're opening up. It's pissing a lot of people off. I get that. I'm not going to sit here and pretend. Look, my state's not doing that. There's still some precautions I would take because I do work around people that haven't been vaccinated yet. And just because somebody's opening up doesn't mean you got to do everything they say. But they've had enough.
Too many Texans have been sidelined from employment opportunities. Too many small business owners have struggled to pay their bills. This must end.
And they're opening up. Keith Overman, why are we wasting vaccinations on Texas if Texas decided to join the side of the virus? It's thoughts like that, right? Like, let's keep doing it, guys. Let's keep this thing down. Let's not go anywhere. Let's slow down here. You're moving too fast. You're moving too fast.
Whether you're vaccinated or unvaccinated, if you're going into public, you need to mask. If you're going to crowded spaces, you need to mask. When you go indoors, unless you're around a group that you know that everyone's vaccinated, we still want to be masking.
Indoors, where to? My parents have been vaccinated. Remember that last week was Brooke Baldwin or whoever it was? My parents were vaccinated, and they want to see their grandkids. They've got both shots. Can they? Well, it's really not. It's not. They shouldn't. And what's the use, right? Like, what's the use? What's the use? Look, Texas is always going to be Texas. The fact that it took this long maybe surprises more people than that they did this. Florida's doing Florida. California went the other way. They hid. They wanted to do nothing. They closed things down. Some arbitrarily that had nothing to do with science, follow the science. Hey, let's shut down all outdoor dining. Based on science? Nope. No science, just doing that. And now you're going to reopen it based on science? Nope. Just as looks better because, they may recall me. So I got to figure something out. It's crap. Got to let people be adults. 2 weeks to stop the spread. There was a couple more weeks, maybe a month to flatten the curve. And then it was, we're going to do this temporarily. And then it was all of a sudden it became 1,000 different things. And here we are a year into this, and you hear people say day 347 of the 2 weeks stop the spread. Then you got Biden coming out saying, well, hopefully by this time next year. Hopefully? No, not hopefully, will happen. But listen to this word here when it comes to returning back to normalcy that includes school, which is a huge part of this.
We're now on track to have enough vaccine supply for every adult in America by the end of May.
Every adult. It's a key word right there, adult. Don't be surprised if the goalpost, and they're going to test it. Some states will test it. We don't recommend you open up school until all the kids get vaccinated. Some states will test it and see what the blowback is. So you buy a saltwater tank. You don't throw your super expensive fish in there right away. You got to go in those little cheap fish that cost $2.99 that's eventually going to be food, potentially for something else, and you throw it in there. And make sure that the salt and everything's right, at the pH balance of salt, the whole 9 yards. And if it survives, you're like, all right, we can put other things in there. That word, though, adult, very interesting. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson shows your Twitter. I'm not reading anything into it that anybody else doesn't already know. For those of you who think this is all ridiculous and an overreach, I'm sorry, it wasn't an overreach. We did know what it was at first. We had to pay attention to it. And we did. And people weren't responsible, and some people didn't. And then we turned it into a fight between the maskers and the non-maskers, and it became uber political. And then you got disinformation and misinformation. You got half-truths and no truths. It's over. We can't fix the stuff in the past. We can only move forward. But you also have to come to a realization that at some point in time, you're going to have to take that step. And if you're looking for perfection, if you're looking for zero, if you're looking for this thing to be eradicated overnight, it ain't going to happen. And if you think for a second that, look, I have friends who are totally terrified by this thing. My other show I do, my on-air partner, Gatos, love the guy to death. He's a hypochondriac. Long before this thing ever happened, super hypochondriac. Super hypochondriac. He gets like, oh, my arm hurts. Probably something poisonous, deadly. Go get it checked out. Goes to the doctors all the time. I mean, super hypochondriac. But he said, once I get both my vaccinations, I'm living my life. I think if your choice is you get one, you don't get one, you live your life, you understand the responsibility, you do that. You go out there and you do that. But don't be surprised if some states and some areas go, well, not everybody got vaccinated, so we're going to still have to continue to have these mitigating measures in place to try to slow this thing, because, no. I think once everybody has the opportunity, maybe it's 30 days, maybe it's 60 days, to get the vaccine, then you open up. Then you do. Now, along the way, the spread may fall to a point of virtually nothing because so many people had been infected, so many asymptomatic people that weren't counted were infected that we didn't take into the count, and that the vaccinations that have been given, it slows the spread down to where, like, okay, we can open up. But I think once everybody has a chance, I think it's time. It is. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you each and every single day. Of course, we all know that we got to get rid of, that person, Dr. Seuss.
I read it to my children. My grandchildren have read it. Dr. Seuss, really? There's no stopping point for these people. They are totally insane. They're obsessed with race, and they are the true racists. Dr. Seuss was a person that promoted racial unity if they would take the time to study him. But they don't. They go after anyone and everyone. No one's safe. And if you look at some of the materials that they push, it is so racist. Their agenda is racist.
Dr. Carol Swain, yesterday we're talking about the whole thing. And look, publishers and people, they can do anything they want, right? They can. They can do, this is your business. You can do anything you want. You want to get rid of Dr. Seuss or whatever, but I just laugh because you can go online and you can get basically any book you want to get. Adult books. You can get it. You want to read Mein Kampf, The Struggle? The Struggle? It's Adolf Hitler, right? Nietzsche. Communist Manifesto. I mean, you can get anything you want. And this I just found to be insane. When I mean anything you want, Chairman Mao, his red book, you can buy it on Amazon. Chairman Mao. We're getting rid of this, or having these books no longer published because of something that some people perceive to be in such a way, because people are looking for it. And cancel culture is real. This is where the battle is. This is where you need to stand up and you need to say no. This is where you finally say, all right, we've had enough. You got to push back. And there's a right way to do it and a wrong way. This is Leo Terrell. He's a teacher, civil rights attorney, happens to be black, talking about this. So was Dr. Carol Swain. Oh, so that's what they do. The people on the right go find some black people agree with them in that way. No, I think this is just logic. It's what it is. That's it. This is the insanity of the times that we live in, because we're trying to make everybody else live in our time, even though they didn't live in our time.
As a student, as a young boy who read those books, as a civil rights attorney. And those images reflect the time in which the books were written, in the 20s and 30s. I am not offended by those pictures because it talks about the evolution of this country and how we are now. And what those books reflected was a sign of the time. You cannot ignore history. You cannot eliminate history. There are worse pictures than that. Show me the immediate harm to victims today. They can't.
Yeah. You can't. Who was harmed by that, honestly? And it was like, well, it's here. We're doing this to promote more diversity. Oh, okay. So are you, like, whose book are you going to put in there? Is that what you're doing? Could you not have added another book? It's just silliness like this, but it starts somewhere and it grows. And we're getting it more and more every single day. Because what ends up happening is kids along the way are coming out, and then they're going to college. They're getting even more indoctrinated with insanity. The good news right now, the Gen X and Gen Z, I mean, the millennials and Gen Z are fighting with each other over who should cancel each other's stars and people. So, but they go and then they get into the real world. And what you think is stupid ends up in your office. And all of a sudden, your joke that you made 6 weeks ago with the other 8 people in there that you've worked with for 5 years is all of a sudden offensive, and now you're being brought up. Well, was it an offensive joke? Was it? Nobody here, but he or she did now. Or I don't like the fact that you wore that. Or could you please take that down? That offends me. Well, don't look at it. We've gotten to this point where you want to give a vaccination out, we should figure out how to give a vaccination out for people who are offended by everything. Here, now you'll learn how to turn the page or scroll. It's nuts. It's your business. Do what you want. You want to get rid of all of Dr. Seuss's book? You know what? Somebody else will publish it. You want to not, allow people to be able to read certain things or do something? Somebody else will publish it. But it's little things. Andy No, who've had on the program on several occasions, wrote a book came out. People are, going out there screaming and yelling, talking about what they're going to do to this bookstore in Portland, how we're going to destroy your business. We're going to do all of these things. You can't sell this book here. It's about Antifa. He's a liar. He's all of these things. Blah, 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 blah. They're going out there and doing that. All the while, you can go buy Mein Kampf. You can go buy Chairman Mao. You're not bitching about that. No, you're not. You're entitled, spoiled kids. But as you move into the workplace, and we've seen it more and more. Everybody who works in an industry now has to spend, how much time do you have to spend going, all right, now I got to go online and I got to go through this entire thing here for the next 3 hours and take a quiz about not sexually harassing somebody. Did you say hi to somebody today? Yes. You might have sexually harassed them. Chad, it's not that stupid. We had an incident here where we held, one of the guys that I work with, one of our producers here at my local program, held a door open for an intern. She went to HR. Smoke that one if you want. Went to HR. About sexism. Yeah. It's out there. It's real. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from every single one of you. I do. Whether it's love or hate, we can have a conversation. That's all I ever ask. We don't need to fight over anything. We just have a conversation. Too many people don't know how to do that. There's another art form that's lost. Chad Benson Show.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
How this plays out is up to us. The next 3 months are pivotal. I'm asking you to reach deeply to protect our nation's health and to protect your loved ones.
CDC Director, Dr. Rochelle Walensky. It's always negative, right? You listen to it. It's always negative. It's always the next 3 months. It's always the next 3 months. There's always something out there that's coming.
We continue to see troubling signs in the trajectory of the pandemic in the U.S.
There could be 0 today, and they're like, well, this is just the beginning of the 15th phase. It's just be honest. So you see troubling signs. Okay. So, and then we're seeing troubling signs over here. We have kids who are in a depression. They're falling so far behind. Some people are calling it generational. It's going to be at least a year or two, and some kids may never catch up. They were already struggling, and now they're put well behind the 8 ball. And if you care about the inequities and everything, wow, it's going to be crazy. So I look and I say, okay, next 3 months is always pivotal. What happens in 3 months from now when you go, well, then the next 3 months, or we've seen more troubling signs? People are frustrated because they feel every time they do something and take a next step towards something, it feels like, well, that wasn't good enough. So you got to do another step.
Stamina has worn thin, fatigue is winning, and the exact measures we have taken to stop the pandemic are now too often being flagrantly ignored.
Well, I don't think it's flagrantly ignored. I think people are just trying to live their life. You call that, it's very flagrant what they're doing over there, living their lives. How dare they eat outside in public at a park? We had parks closed. You remember that? That's the stupidest thing in the world. Better close the parks. At least coronavirus, what is it? Is it somehow associated with grass? Enough, right? It's always a troubling sign. Be honest. You're going to have a bunch of opportunities to get this thing. Some of you are going to live your life. Some of you are not going to get this. But we're going to have to learn to live with this thing, through this thing, and around this thing. Or we're going to be screwed. And the world that's going to be left is a world that will be paying off the debt that they've accrued over the last 12-plus months that's crushing. So, yeah, you can be cautious, respectful, but I think the fatigue isn't when I think people, the fatigue is one. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet and text the program. Have a great rest of your day. We got it over the hump. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.